You appointed Andrea Johnson, a civilian with an engineering background, to the rank of brigadier. Why did you do that?
No, I did not appoint her.
Okay, who did?
The National Commissioner.
I see. And were you happy with that appointment?
Come again, Honorable?
Were you happy with that appointment?
Very happy.
Why?
Because she meets all the requirements of the capabilities that we needed for that particular post as a division.
May I ask the parliamentary legal advisor to sit back, please? You're sitting between me and the General. Thank you. And there was no one within the South African Police Service who could fill that role?
That is correct, Honorable Member. The post was advertised internally 2 times, if I'm not mistaken, and then they could not find the suitable candidate.
Okay. There was a...
Do you have the PRECA Act with you, before you? You don't? Because I think there are some parts of Section 3 you are skipping. You've quoted it at page 2429.
I'm reading it from your...
You have quoted it in your
3429.
affidavit, page 2429.
2429, that's
Yes.
where I'm reading it from.
Yes. But then if you're reading the actual section, you stop too soon, because it must continue after 3A and B. In order to act personally or by influencing another person so to act in a manner continued, sub 1, that amounts to the sub AA, illegal, dishonest, unauthorized, incomplete or biased, or BB, misuse or selling of information or material acquired in the course of the exercise, carrying out the performance of any powers, duties or functions arising out of a constitutional, statutory, contractual or any other legal obligation. Roman 2, that amounts to the abuse of position of authority, BB, a breach of trust or the violation of a legal duty or a set of rules. Roman 3, designed to achieve an unjustified result. Or Roman 4, that amounts to any other unauthorized or improper inducement to do so. So the offer of employment must fit in with the remainder of Section 3 to constitute, to fall within the definition of gratification. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Now, that forces us then to look at your docket to see whether any of the listed activities there are to be found in your docket. Is there evidence of anyone acting personally or by influencing another person in a manner that amounts to the illegal, dishonest, unauthorized, biased, acts that amounts to the abuse of position, any one of them? Is there such evidence in your docket? Will we find it there?
Yes, Commissioner.
Okay. You don't have to remember off the top of your head. We will look for it overnight. But then if you could just tell us the nature of the documents that provide that evidence in the docket. Sorry, I was going to say, would it be statements, witness statements? Would it be any other document? So I'm more interested in the description of the document, if it's in a witness statement, than for you to say the statement of XYZ.
The panel that gave the gratification,
yes,
to the Mukwele, they gave a gratification to Mukwele. Mukwele received the gratification. The gratification that she received was the employment, which was not due. The investigation and evidence that we looked at the documents, we looked at the application, and where we could clearly see that the applicant should have not been appointed. There was manipulation. When we looked at what did she received the appointment, what was she going to be given in return? In return, the post that she applied for is a very powerful post. So in terms of the Act, the giving back or return for the gratification does not have to be immediately. It can be at some other time. And given the situation that she's appointed in a very powerful post, and the chairperson of the panel, who was the commander of that whole section. So, although it was not given immediately, it is said at any given time. So he held a position of power over her.
Colonel, I think you're missing the point, and sorry to interrupt.
No, by all means, Commissioner.
The point here is that accepting for a moment that employment is gratification, you must be giving that in order to influence the other person to do something illegal.
Yes, sir.
Because reading that section, it says, in order to act personally or by influencing any other person so as to act in a manner that amounts to illegal, dishonest, unauthorized, and all of those things. Now, in this case where your offer of employment and contract of employment says your job is to provide services to the South African government, because we have the contract of employment here commencing 1 November 2024.
Yes, sir.
And it says, when you get into this role, you must provide these services to the government. So it's in that context that the question is asked. So it can be that she's going to give something in the future, because her providing a service or a labor to her employer, that's not what the section contemplates and what the definition contemplates. It contemplates that in return she must do something illegal, something improper, something unlawful.
Yes, sir. That's what I'm saying, is that what she was going to do is not going to be done immediately, but what you're supposed to give back was not going to be immediately, but can be given at a later stage because of the position that she was appointed in.
She was going to do something illegal.
Correct.
Some years later.
No, we do not know when that would be. But
Precisely the problem.
Because you don't know, that's precisely the problem.
That's precisely the problem with this. That you have you formulated a charge, you got a warrant of arrest, you got people arrested, you have people appearing in court, and continue to do so on the basis of something that you say, and rightly so, fairly so. You say, well, we don't know, maybe in future she was going to do that. How does that, for a seasoned investigator, how does that sound right? As you say it, we don't know, maybe in future she was going to do that, and you've taken all these drastic steps that have a consequence on people's lives and have had a consequence. And you sit there now, many months later, you say, well, we don't know. Maybe she was going to do it in future. It cannot be right that that's a basis on which you went and instituted this prosecution and got a warrant of arrest. That's precisely the problem with this.
And my concern, Colonel, is that the date of the offense is listed in A1 and the supporting annexure as October 2024. But she signs the contract of employment in December 2024. So 2 months after the date of the offense. And the effective date is 1 November 2024. And if you are saying this offense, which amounts to acceptance of gratification, the material facts relevant to it, happened in October. But some years from now, we don't know when. We think it's in exchange of her doing something illegal. I mean, that's circuitous reasoning, which I just don't get. And let me be clear to you, We don't want to go into the merits of whether people are guilty or innocent. That's for the court. That's for the criminal court. What we are concerned with is, what was IDAC's motive? Was IDAC doing these things because they were influenced by politicians, or there was some ulterior motive, or they were acting contrary to the NPA Act? That's really what we're looking at. It's not our place to say people are guilty or innocent of a crime. That's for the criminal court. So I hope you understand that. But to get to that, my interest in particular, is what did IDAC do from the moment it received the complaint? Did it comply with statute? Did it follow correct procedures? And what was the reason behind how IDAC acted? And all these questions and what we elicit from you, we may have to draw inferences from those at a later stage. But just so you are clear, we're not focused on whether people are guilty or innocent of a crime.
Can I respond?
And I hope that assists you and you are able to come down, and when you respond to questions, it's with that in mind.
Can I respond,
And
Commissioner?
we've taken advocates the last time, but
No,
I did so because I could see that you were struggling with the second part of that definition of gratification.
Commissioner, noted. What I've explained and what you've explained now, that what you are looking for is that whether IDAC was influenced in any way with regards to this particular matter. And that's where I'm saying that's where the emphasis was. But when we're going in deeper into the matter, and this single matter, we're going right into the merits of the whole matter.
No, Colonel, we're going into how you conducted yourself in the lead up. That's what we're focusing on. So your affidavit, where you were asking for a warrant, that's the lead up.
Yes.
That's not in the criminal court people answering to charges. That's IDAC's conduct in the lead up. How did you deal with documents? For example, I asked you a question. Let me give you an example. I asked you a question earlier about whether the advert was, inviting people from outside to apply. And your answer to me was, you were not aware at the time, you became aware now. Now, I've read your affidavit, the same affidavit we're looking at, from June 2025. And in that affidavit, you say so, in so many words, that this position was advertised externally. So it means in June last year already you knew that to be the position because you put that in your affidavit. Again, that's the lead up. That's not what happens in the criminal court.
Commissioner, if I could just stress the affidavit, part of it, and the advert. I did not say that it is now. Only get to know now. When the documents were subpoenaed and we got the documents, the whole appointment documents, the advert was there. So it was clear when we received those documents in February, March 2024. No, 2025. I just got to get the date right. When we received those documents, then the advert was there. All the applicants' documents were in the bundle. So there we saw it externally. And we also noticed that it was advertised previously too as well. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioners. You, just staying with the definition, I think you stated that this employee was to act illegally in the future in order for the employment to constitute gratification.
She would have been, as I explained, and I did not want to go too much deep into the merits of that response.
No, it's okay. I'm just testing.
Yes.
Did I understand you correctly? So basically, in so saying, you were indicating that if it is a quid pro quo, her part was not done yet. That part would subsequently come after the employment. That's
Yes,
what you sought to
whatever
communicate.
it would be would come
Yes.
after that process.
All right.
It didn't
Now-
have to be immediate.
And I appreciate that you can't put a timeline to it. You don't know when. What I'm interested, sorry, ask me.
No, carry on. It's fine.
Okay. So, I say I accept that you can't put a timeline to it as to when it shall be done, when she will so act. Correct? I'm happy to accept that.
At this stage, Commissioner, at this stage we could not say.
Indeed.
Yes.
And I accept that.
Yes.
What I'm interested in is the act. What act was she to perform, to your understanding?
When we're dealing with investigation as a whole and we look at what is there, it was the capture of crime intelligence, and we were still busy with the investigations on the other aspects with it.
So I apologize to interject. I want us to take it a step at a time. The act that you suspected she would in time commit is the capture of crime intelligence.
Yes.
What is that?
When you look at the various appointments that were taking place within crime intelligence for a specific purpose and a specific reason, from the flow out of the other investigations, that people were being brought in and appointed for specific reasons to be compliant with those particular reasons would actually be unlawful.
I'm interested in in the act you said is the capture of crime intelligence. So I would like you, if you can, to explain to the commissioners the act of capture. What is that? I'm pleading ignorance here. I'm not sure. If we speak of an act,
yes,
one would say they would in time do X, steal from the one to give to the other. So specifying the particular act you suspect she would perform. Now, in response to my question, you say that act would be capture of crime intelligence is what the capture is directed at. I'm interested, what is the act of capture?
Chair, Commissioners, when we look at the investigation of crime intelligence,
yes,
and when we talk about capture,
yes,
it's when the division your people are placed in specific positions to do certain things. Now, certain things could mean tenders, manipulating of tenders. It could be giving out information on operations that are there. The applicant was the head of a very sensitive post,
okay,
which deals with high-profile operations. When we look at the other appointments in terms of different places where people were appointed as commanders of the Secret Service account, and when we look at some of the other investigations which were properties, people are put strategically in place, and that's why we call it capturing of the unit, where you control every subcomponent and every person that's there, that is pliant to do what you want them to do. That is more or less what we say capture.
Can I just, I'm interested in her act, not the act of the collective. Interestingly, you didn't say the act would be to steal, for instance. You say the act would be to capture. Now, at the time you made that determination, what about her employment led you to conclude that the act she would in time perform is that of capture?
When you look at the investigation itself and the charges, we looked at, she applied for the post.
Yes.
Investigation revealed that she lied, misrepresented herself on that. The panel were aware of it. Each of the panel members to themselves were, if we look at our other investigations that are there, why they also would have went with the chairperson of the panel to appoint the specific person, because they also had investigations against them. So to give you an example, when you look at one panel member, and I'm actually branching out into something that I didn't want to, but when you look at the first docket that we were investigating, that is the matter of General Khumalo and the alleged housebreaking, and where a classified laptop together with an iPhone cell phone that was stolen, there was no real investigation done there. However, General Khumalo was supposed to be charged, but he was not. When General Khumalo took over as the acting divisional commissioner a couple months after this incident took place, Khumalo put in documents for the loss of the state property. In the lost property, in those statements, it was said that he was drugged. A board of inquiry should have been instituted and disciplinary steps should have been taken against Lushaba. General Khumalo did not do that. General Lushaba was not charged. Fast forward, investigation takes place. General Lushaba is charged for defeating the ends of justice. A disciplinary takes place and he's found guilty for the negligent loss of property, which is also that loss of property and the disciplinary is also that we are also still looking at, because a formal investigation was taken place directly after he reported that incident. And the general that investigated, who was tasked to investigate it, said he was a victim of being drugged by these ladies of the night. When we looked further into the investigation, which they didn't even look and probe at, we found that he was not drugged. So here you have somebody who's sitting there at Crime Intelligence with General Khumalo there, and General Khumalo is aware of it because he signs off on those documents when it goes to the loss management. But here, come forward after the criminal case is investigated and it is found that, and he was arrested, a disciplinary action is taken, a disciplinary case is open and he's found guilty. So that's just one example. There is more on this which I do not want to expose.
So is the complaint, remember we're talking about these charges here,
Yes,
the institution of these charges relating to the appointment of Ms. Mukwele. And we are still at the point where we are discussing how you moved from Mr. Adams's affidavit to formulating a charge sheet in the manner that you have done. That's the discussion at this point. Are you prosecuting, or the charge sheet, are you charging General Lushaba and General Khumalo for including General Lushaba in the panel? Is that part of the complaint? Is that why you are telling us this story about the loss of his laptop? That because there's that history, the charge relating to this appointment, insofar as it includes him, and General Khumalo is further justified by the fact that he hadn't been disciplined previously, or a discipline happened, you are not happy with it, and the outcome and the conduct of Khumalo, and therefore his inclusion in the panel that appointed Ms. Mukwele was part of state capture. Is that of capture of crime intelligence? Is that the logic you say you have applied?
No, the point I was trying to get across, sorry, Commissioner, you done?
Yes, you may proceed.
The point I'm trying to get at when it comes to the appointments, and as I explained with regards to how the systematic capture took place, where you have the panel that appointed Mukwele. When we spoke about the gratification, and when the gratification is going to be given at a later stage or whenever, when we look at Mukwele, the application that she made, the panel was fully aware the processes were manipulated. When you look at, and that's all in the documents, to appoint her. So she was the appointment of Mukwele was clearly one, fraud, and two, there was a gratification.
I just wanted to understand the relevance of General Lushaba's loss of a computer and how that was handled to this case that relates to Ms. Mukwele, and in particular, your having concluded this is part of capture of crime intelligence, the relevance of that. Because you seem to have told us something on the face of it, and having listened to you, there's no clear connection that you are making why that case has anything to do with this case and your gratification suspicion, because we must accept at that time, certainly, of drawing the charge sheet, you just had a suspicion, and I think even now you say we don't know what she was going to do in the future. So at the time of drafting the charge sheet, we were dealing with your suspicion, and whoever is behind has given you instructions to investigate this matter. Why is it relevant, the computer story, to this charge?
May I respond, Commissioner?
Yes, you may.
Thank you, Chair, Commissioner. I'm pointing out I pointed out to a panel member that sat on the panel. And when I say about capture, what I'm trying to say here is that you have people or members that are obligated to General Khumalo, who is the chair of the panel. He controls the panel. So
did he pick the panel?
Excuse me, sir.
Did he pick the panel?
Yes.
He picked the panel.
The panel was, maybe I should have started there.
Yes.
My apologies, Commissioner. The panel was selected by General Khumalo. He selected the panel. The members on the panel, together with General Khumalo, it was very clear that they manipulated the process of appointing. When you look at the documents, the evidence, what we collected, this is what came out there. When we looked at...
And you say part of him selecting the panel, or the fact of him selecting these members as a panel, and they are collectively manipulating the process. You're saying that's all part of in furtherance of gratification to Ms. Mokwele for something that we don't know what she would do in future, but you also say that is part of a scheme, or it's a scheme in fact, to capture crime intelligence. That's what you're saying?
Yes.
Happened here?
With the appointment of, that's the panel that have selected, manipulated the process to appoint Mokwele when she clearly should not have been appointed. That is the panel. So when you look at that, here's another appointee coming in to crime intelligence, and there are a few more appointments that are there too as well that were appointed for a specific purpose. So when you look at it from a capture point of view, commissioners, you have a person in a position as a commander of that specific subcomponent or section that is now you control because you appointed them.
No, yeah, well, I was going to ask you exactly that last part, that I don't know the processes of the SAPS, so